power. Good morning, Boston. Good morning, everybody that's listening through the airways, the internet. I have a wonderful guest with me this morning. I'm happy to be back in the studio. Thankful for my engineer, Pastor Bruce Wall, the one and only. And so we're going to be talking about a couple of things today. But first, let me introduce my guest, Mr. Cleon Bryant. Good morning, Cleon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
How's it going?
It is going. I'm not going to lie. I've been having actually a good 2 weeks. This month has been great. God is good.
All
right?
the time.
You know, a lot of times, we want things to move faster than God wants us to. But he's like, hey, slow down. You're on my time. And his time has been working really well. So I'm going to give much shout out to him because a lot of good things have been happening.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So we're here to talk about a couple of things, but the first thing that I want to talk about is the your event. You have a fundraiser coming up, right? For your spot at 1102 Blue Hill Ave.
Yes.
So let's. Well, first of all, give us a little bit of your background, like who, where you come from and who you are and what you do in the community for the community.
Okay. Well, first of all, Boston raised, born in Boston City Hospital. That's big for us Bostonians. I grew up in the Dorchester, Roxbury area pretty much all my life. I did have a good stay in Milton as well. So, just shout out to my Milton crew. But I am a Dorchester, Roxbury guy all day, mostly Roxbury. I gotta give the shout out because that's where me and all my friends. I grew up playing basketball over there because that was the hub. I come from parents of small businesses. As you know, just like we're talking about, if y'all can remember Dudley Liquors, Giant Liquors, Warren Liquors, that was owned by the Daniels family. That I grew up with them. And my parents also had a store called Johnson Superette, which was across from Chez Vu's. So I just grew up in small business, helping out. So that's pretty much my background. And the area that we did a lot of working is kind of the Morton and Blue Hill area. My folks have always had a shop over there, and that's pretty much, I gotta say I grew up over there. So I know a lot of people, Johnston Road, Wilcock, Ashton, Lucerne, all the way up to the field, because I've been there since I was 12. Okay. And just to put it, this is to tell you how long we've been over there in that area, is that I seen Kay's actually open, and unfortunately we know she's closing, and I actually seen her close. So that's how long my family's actually been on that block. And like I said, we've been serving, helping the community. We actually have 3 daycares, and we have a daycare also in the Blue Hill area, and we've been serving families. As you know, we in the air, we only worth $8 per person.
So they say.
But we have to help each other. Working in the daycares, working with the parents, working with the kids. I see the shortcomings, and as community members, I see us also filling those shortcomings as well.
Right. So I gotta say, shout out to Sheik. She's watching.
Hey, she.
Parties from above, the best party planner. So you're having a fundraiser. You're trying. Something's going on with your building. You have 1102 Blue Hill Ave, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like 2 parts. And I know this one part of it used to be. First, I believe it was Michelle Wu's campaign, one of her campaign offices when she ran, and then after she won, I believe it was Pastor Culpepper. He used that space. So,
yes.
So you don't have no candidates this year, do you?
This year we don't have any candidates this year, but we're supporting a lot of candidates like Clifton A. Braithwaite, Will Onoha, Winston Pierre. And all the regular incumbents, like Julia, Rootsy, State Rep Russell Holmes and also Brian Worrell, who is actually my district counselor. So we support who supports us.
That's right. That's right. That's a good way of putting it. So let's talk about your event that's coming up in May 31st.
Okay. Let me, if you don't mind, I'm just going to tell a little people about 1102 Blue, so they know exactly.
Go ahead, yeah.
So we have 1102 Blue Community Event Space, which is located on 1102 Blue Hill Avenue in Dorchester. This space is a community space. We have done many functions in there for the community. We really want to promote mental health, have places for arts, safe spaces, returning citizens, places where we need education. Right now we are in emergency for places for people of color to learn and to get out of the rat race that we're in, right? I think places like this need to be dropped, and they need to be black owned as well. So this is a black owned space, a black owned block, and we want this space to be for the community. And I think most of the time when the community comes there, they have a great time. So the fundraiser that we're having, which is going to be May 31st at the Bruce Bowling Building from 1 to 4 p.m. We're going to try to extend it to 5, actually. And the event is to beautify the block, to make it more up to date, because we believe the people in the community deserve something that is nice and up to date and functioning and safe and beautiful. We deserve that. We're beautiful people. And we do beautiful things, and we deserve a beautiful space. So that's the reason why I'm doing the fundraiser, because I want to make the place more beautiful. I want to make it safer. I want to be able to bring more lighting and certain things to the venue, and also I want to bring attention to it as well.
Okay, so what is your next step? Like, what is the fundraiser actually? You're raising funds to reopen it. Is that what is going on, or?
Some of the funds will be going to permitting. Unfortunately, the process working with ISD and the city and lawyers is expensive. So that's what a little bit will be going to, just sustaining. Right now, what we are working towards, and the fundraiser is not going to bring all this, is to make sure that we have an up-to-date sprinkler system so we can have increased capacity. We want to update the bathrooms. Ladies need beautiful bathrooms. We want to make sure there's a handicap bathroom in there, just in case somebody has a problem. So it's just simple things. It's not really anything major. And then painting, changing the lightings, making sure the outside looks nice. And we have other funding for that, but this funding will just kind of help us move things along as well. And be able to market and advertise, and also, just like I said, bring attention to the space so we can get help. This is a SOS.
Right. So, tell us. I know Chic is a major supporter of yours, who does Parties from Above, and we're gonna be talking about her and what's going on with Marcus Anthony's trial in a few minutes. But she has done. She does amazing parties for these young folks who have lost their parents from the ages, I think she does from 3 to 16.
3 to 16.
She may even do a little older. But I just like her work is just impeccable, and she has a heart for these young folks, and you can see it in how she gives these parties. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me give a shout out to Christopher Worrell. That's how I met she. I brought them together and say, hey, you guys might have something in common. And when she told me what she was doing, I was like, yes, I definitely want to do this here. And me and her have connected, and just like you said, her energy, her heart is huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to tell her sometime, you got to save a little bit for yourself, but her cause is amazing. I love her energy. She's on it. She's one of my biggest cheerleaders out there, and I appreciate and I love her for that. And if you want somebody to support you, she is that person. All right. She gets up every day, and I don't know how she does it, but she makes it happen.
I know. Amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. And that's another reason why we want to get this space open, because we want to make sure this is a dedicated space for Parties from Above, and for the kids and for the community. I put it this way, she is like sometimes my battery pack sometimes when I don't have that energy, and I appreciate her for it. And all the blessings and everything that's coming to her, she deserves. All right. And big shouts out to her. And she really wants 1102 Blue back open. She tells me every day, we got to get this place back. I'm tired of all these other places. And we need to get her home open as well, because that is her home. Parties from Above.
All right. So I am talking with Cleon Bryan. He is the manager, CEO of 1102 Blue Hill Ave. I'm sure some of you all have been at events at his establishment. I think the first time I went into his establishment was last year, February, when Aziza had her Repair American series. It was a week-long events just going on about Black history, about, that's how I found out about the woman. Oh God, her name is Robin, but now I forgot where it was at. Was it in Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay. And talked about how they were able to get reparations for their community. And I mean, just every day. Then she had someone talking about the history of Boston and some of the things that were done, like when Mel King was the state rep, and when he ran for mayor, and I mean, just that whole tent city story, And every day it was just something, and I liked the space, and I felt so safe in the space. So I really enjoyed coming there,
Yeah.
And so I also want to do a shout out for Aziza, who put her mom to rest on Tuesday.
Yes.
So our prayers go out to Aziza. She's an awesome advocate. She's a community leader, and she is a blessing. She's an artist, and she comes from a family of artists.
Yes.
And, so give our condolences again to Aziza's, the Robertson Goodnight family.
Yes.
So
talking on that, Aziza will also be honored at our event as well.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. So I don't want to flip too quick, but we do need to talk about this Marcus Anthony situation. So for those of you who know or don't know, I started the Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute because Marcus Anthony Hall, who was a member of BG, the Black Economic Justice Institute, the organization that I used to run and work with, he was a member, and he was killed on June 14, 2016. He was shot down taking his 4-year-old son Yoda to the barber shop. And the case, they found the killers, and the case came up. So I don't know what the other person got, but the other person is deceased now. So now they were supposed to bring William Shakespeare back for a retrial, but somewhere along the line things got changed, and so what happened was they said they were now going to accept a plea bargain for 15 years with time served. Now he shot Marcus 6 times. I don't know how you equate shooting somebody 6 times, 5 times, last time in the head. How was that manslaughter?
Right.
That I don't understand that law. Someone really has to explain that to me. And so I have a letter here that was written to District Attorney Hayden. So I'm going to read this letter. Bear with me. Dear District Attorney Hayden, as the mother of Christian cousins, a black child murdered in Boston, and as a healthcare professional serving victims of community violence, I implore you to halt any plea agreement for William Shakespeare, the killer of Marcus Anthony. This case represents a systemic failure to hold violent offenders accountable, particularly in crimes against black and brown youth. Legal and moral imperatives. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 265(1), Murder in the First Degree. Marcus Hall's killing meets the criteria for premeditated murder under Section 1. I think that's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting a plea deal would violate the spirit of this statute, which exists to ensure the gravest crimes face the gravest consequences. Suffolk County duty to victims' families. In 2023, your office pledged to center victims and prosecutions. Suffolk DA Policy Memo, January 2023. A plea deal for Shakespeare would betray this promise and echo the leniency shown in cases like Commonwealth versus James Wells, 2022, where a reduced sentence sparked community outrage. Racial disparities in plea bargains. A Boston University Law Review 2021 study found that Suffolk County defendants in black victim homicides are 37% more likely to receive favorable plea terms than those in white victim cases. This is unacceptable. Our demands: withdraw all plea offers and try Shakespeare under the highest applicable charges. Meet with Marcus Hall's family to explain why this case merits full prosecution. Audit plea deals and homicide cases to address racial bias per your office's equity pledges. The time for empty rhetoric is over. We will not let Marcus Hall's name join the long list of black lives deemed unworthy of justice. Sincerely, Dr. Shalea Armstrong. So that was a very powerful letter, Shalea, and I thank you for writing it. Because I don't understand, as some of you all know or may not know, I have an organization named after Marcus Hall, for Marcus Hall. And so the bottom line was that everything was all set until I believe the other gentleman died, and then William wanted to change his plea.
Right.
And so, but they said it was going to be a retrial. A retrial and a plea agreement are two different things.
Yeah.
That I believe, anyway.
They are.
So we definitely have to stay on this community because we are the people and we have the power, and we have to let the folks that represent us know that enough is enough and that we can only take but so much. And how much do you expect us to take when you say one thing and you do another? Come on. It's, I don't want to get, into politics and stuff, but that's what a lot of our politicians do. They say one thing to us, but they do something totally different. And so how do we change that culture? How do we change that?
I'm thinking, like a lot of times, it's on us. We're looking to the politicians. I think the only thing we really need from the politicians is just the resources and the money. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, we have to create our groups and be accountable for us. Because even when COVID happened, I noticed this. Like, we had to wait for the city and Newton and everybody else before we got services. So it's at the point now where it's up to us to really take our resources and take care of us. Because just like you said, we talk to the politicians and they say what they got to say to get into the office, and then when they get there, it's everything changes. So I don't think we need to really depend on the politicians like we
can't.
Yeah.
We really can't. Unfortunately, we do have to do for self. We do have to take care of ourselves. Just like when COVID hit, I was one of the founder members of the Black Boston COVID Coalition.
Right.
And if we hadn't gotten in there and did what we did, there's no telling what would have happened. And it's unfortunately because you can see the disparities that we are treated different, than other people, other communities. And so we do have to come together as community. We work in silos, unfortunately, There's a lot of people doing the same thing, and there's a lot of people doing different things. But, if we could all come together, we could do a lot. I feel like we could do a lot more.
And when we say all, I think we just got to really look at the 10 or 20%. Right.
Unfortunately.
Right. So we can't look at the 100% because a lot of us, we deal with mental illness, and some of us, we are broken homes. Yeah. And when did we get therapy for that?
I'm a client.
Me too. Me too. I was telling my cousin that the other day. I was like, you think I'm rap tight? But we walk around with scars. I think you got to remember we really had rights and civil rights and the rights to vote 60 years ago. All right, we're infants at this. And I think that's what people got to understand. We haven't done this for a long time. This is not something we've done every day. And then the other thing, we have powers that be that don't want us to succeed as well. And that's another thing we have to keep out. Not blame it. We know it's there. And we just have to jump over those hurdles because we know there's always going to be hurdles.
That's so true. That's so true. So I just feel like, let's see, it looks like Chris Womack may be watching us. So good morning, Chris. No, this is Chris Womack. I'm sorry. She just sent me something, but I don't know what it was, and I'm on Facebook.
I gotta go see her after this. So she's actually helping me put everything together.
Oh, I know it's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Thank you, she. But I ain't gonna say thank you when I'm close, cause she's gonna be all up into my neck. But I appreciate it. I do. You need that when you're trying to get to the end goal.
Right. And so, do you have? You're doing a fundraiser, so. How do you can't say how much, can't mention money.
Okay, got it.
No dollar and cents.
I got it.
But like if they, do you have a flyer out, your website, or how can folks?
You can go to GoFundMe, and it's called Revitalize 1102 Blue Hill, and also you can go on my Facebook. It's Cleon Byron 617, or you can go on my Facebook, which is 1102 Blue. And Instagram is Cleon Byron 617 as well. And all these places have the link to the GoFundMe and also has links to tickets to the actual gala itself. And I'm just going to say this. If you can't make it, if you can, just have some friends and y'all donate what you can. I can't really say a dollar amount because I was, but whatever you can do that can help out, that would be great. At the end of the day, this space is for you guys, the community, and I want it for you guys, and I know we can do amazing things there. Just like Priscilla said, there's a lot of us out there, and this space can be a place where we can bring it all together.
That's right. So, what else is going on in Boston? Oh, I just got notice of a forum today at 6:15 by Zoom. So I don't even know who sent me the link, but let's check it out. It's going to be Zoom. From what I understand, it's going to be Michelle Wu, Josh Kraft, and Dominga DeRosa.
Oh.
So it should be very interesting.
Should be interesting. I've been watching how things been going. I don't want to say no names or anything, but I wish everybody luck. I know who I'm going for. But I wish everybody luck, and we need somebody who helps us and listens to us as well.
Right.
So hopefully, everything goes good, and I wish everybody the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of people running for office, but that's what happens. When there's a vacancy, like what's going on in District 7.
That's the hot topic right now.
Yeah. There's like I heard 21, then I heard 17. To be honest with you, I don't know how many's running, but there's a lot of people running for that seat, you know.
Yeah.
And my take on all this is, instead of 17 people trying to run for office, them 17 people need to come together and sit down and talk, because there's only going to be one person.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, you know, we're being gentrified out of Roxbury, right?
Big time.
So you got 17 black people running for office, right? All you need is one white person to slip in there, you know, and take the whole thing, because we don't collaborate, you know. So this one's running here, this one's running there, this one's running that, and it's very confusing to people.
Diluting their vote.
Yes, and so that has happened to us a couple of times, you know, where sometimes we're just so pig-headed and we're so stubborn, and it's all about us, you know. But if it's really for the community, why can't y'all sit down and have a conversation and decide who is the best candidate?
Right.
You know, they talk about it. There may be some people that don't get the signatures because you got so many people. People gonna sign multiple, you know, sheets, and it's like whoever gets their sheets down there first. But first, that's who gets on there.
That's
you know?
who wins.
So, and then that's just getting on the ballot. You know, and so it's still a race. Yeah,
I right now I've seen a lot of posters up with the guy Coach and another one Ahmad. People,
Saeed. Two
Yeah.
Two are named Saeed.
Yeah.
One is Coach and one wears the yellow shirt.
Which
shirt.
I don't like. I'm a Roxbury kid. I grew up in Roxbury, Washington Park.
Orchard Park.
Orchard Park, run around. My girls from Orchard Park.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just telling her out there, me and my friends, we used to call ourselves the Dudley Dogs when we were young, you know, running around all over the place. I don't know some of those people that I can say, like, I know you from elementary school. You know how Boston is, you know what I mean? It's one of those places where, you know, we like you got to know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we've had a lot of people coming from other places, not born and raised, and I just don't feel they have the same love for the city.
And they don't know the history.
Right.
You know, that's the problem. A lot of people don't really know Boston's history. You know, and so to know Boston is to love Boston. You know, especially if you were born and raised there. And I mean, people used to think black people didn't live in Boston. You know?
I know. When I lived in California, I had to tell people, like, we live in the city, okay? If you come to Boston, we live in the city. Yeah. We dominate the city. Yeah. And that's a big thing. But I love my town. People do need to know more about the history here, because we have a lot of great history in Boston. And matter of fact, I'm going to give a shout out to one of the baddest brothers on the planet who are in the nations out here that ran these streets. I'm going to give a shout out to Farrakhan, right? We don't give that brother enough praise.
Development Corporation and Mahi. These young folks are getting a lot of stuff that I wish I could have had, a lot of training and things that I wish I had when I was their age, you know, because it would probably change the trajectory of my life, and then maybe it wouldn't have. But I know that I see the future. I see these young folks shine and you know, see what they can do and what they can create with their own minds, you know. And they just need nurturing and loving, and you know, they need to know that people care about them, you know, because unfortunately every home ain't a good home, you know. And so we have to show love to our young folks, because they're not our future, they're our now.
They are,
you know. And they're doing things. Like I give a shout out to Carrie Mays, who is an amazing activist and young lady, you know, that's really doing some good stuff in the community. So but yeah, I'm happy and blessed to be able to have this radio broadcast every week. Pastor, you know, I have to do something major. I don't know when, but this is my 10th year on this radio station.
What?
Since 2015.
We're going to have to put something together
10 years.
I'm glad I'm here to know that. Okay, we're going to have to do something for you, Priscilla. Definitely. I'll be a part of that.
Yeah, 10 years. So that's amazing.
10 years to start in trouble over the
Somebody got to do it.
It's a good thing. It's a, you know, I mean, I know I do start trouble sometimes, but you know what? It's good trouble, and we need it. We need a voice that is not afraid of these folks out here. You know, I fear no one but God, because God didn't give me a spirit of fear. He gave me love, power, and a sound mind, and I believe that. And so that's why I do the work that I do. And you know, it is what it is. We need help out here. You know, we need, you know, I want to appeal to some of the parents with our youth that we work with. We need some of these parents to get involved too. You know, I mean, come on,
man.
You know, I mean, we're trying to work with your young folks and support your young folks and stuff. But you can come to a meeting once a month or you know, get involved some kind of way. You know,
that is like one of the biggest things. Like, you know, if y'all know, me and Dr. Schleyer, who wrote that, lost Christian. And I'm saying, like, where are the parents? Like, parents, do you know what your kid's doing when they get out of here? Are you know, we're losing young black men at such a high rate that it's like, why are we not waking up, right? And I kind of understand, because sometimes it doesn't affect you until it's so close to home, right? Yes. But now we got to do better than that. We can't wait till it hits home, right? We got to do before it hits home, because when I went to the Peace Walk, if you've seen, there was just too many lost in our city that could have been right here on this radio station, you know, doing what we're doing, or doing amazing things, and we're like just losing them at such a great rate, and we don't know what their potential could have been. You know, they could have been the next leader. They could have been the next inventor. They could have been the next musician or whatever out there, but we're losing them so fast.
That's right.
That it's crazy. And it's like, I don't understand. So this is actually a plea to the parents. Check your kids' room. Stand up, you know, because we don't want our kids killing other kids. Yes. Right? Yes, yes. Right? And the thing about it, a lot of times we know each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Boston ain't big. It's 2 degrees of separation here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And it's sad that somebody I might know, son or kid, killed somebody else I know. I've seen that situation where I know both parents on both sides. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard for both, because when that happens, no one wins. No. The victim or the person, the perpetrator. No one wins in that. And it's just that I feel like that's why a lot of you know, we see a lot of our folks just kind of like give up, you know, and they go totally another way. You know, I mean, I lost my 2 sons. I know what it is to lose your kids, you know. One at 4 in the fire and 1 at 7 in a car accident. And I always say, it doesn't matter how you lose your child. A mother's loss is a mother's loss.
100,000%.
You know, and so the bottom line is that we need to come together, us mothers. You know, mothers that are raising sons, that are doing the best that they can. Some of these mothers out here, they have to work 2, maybe even 3 jobs, you know. So if Johnny's acting up in school, it could have been maybe because Johnny didn't get a chance to have no breakfast that morning, you know, or there was an argument at the home, and you know, Johnny's still thinking about it. Yep. There's you know, there's so many things that I feel like that we can do as community, you know. But we have to come together. We got to stop that backbiting and that crab barrel mentality, because I'm of the belief that if God did it for me, He can do it for you. You know, there's no need of us backstabbing each other more. How do we build a tribe? How do we build a village if this one's sneaking around to that door and this one's sneaking around to this door? It needs to stop.
This person got to one-up this person. Yeah. Or I got to do it myself before I can help you.
Or either they'll come into your organization, perpetrate and try to get your ideas, and then run off and start their own thing, which ain't gonna work, because when you steal from other people, it don't help. Yeah. You know,
it's not your idea, it's not your dream, and you don't have the will to do it. And in Boston, unfortunately, we really have to come together. We fight over things that are not important. And just like you said, we have to stop the backbiting. We have to stop I don't like this person or this person. That's one of the things that when I actually go through and I'm, you know, working with people and I'm trying to network, is that the biggest thing in this small communities that we're so cliquish and we're like, we don't mess. Don't worry about who you don't like. Worry about, do you get the work done working with these people?
That's right.
That's where our focus is at. Don't worry about, if you're not going to like everybody who you work with. It's not going to happen. But do you get the job done? And then we have to respect each other. What we were back in middle school and high school, once we get out of that, is done. I don't care if he's a punk or all this. We have to learn to be like, okay, this guy's an adult. Can he do something that can help me? Yeah, maybe he wasn't the fighter. Maybe he wasn't the guy who jumped everybody. He was the guy who went to school and did his books. But guess what? We need the guys who went to school and did their books.
Yeah.
All right. We have to get all that small high school thinking out of our mind, get adult thinking, and then work together. And just like I said, we're not always going to like the person that we work with. They're always not going to talk to you the way you want them to talk to you. But if they give you great ideas and you're accomplishing things, that's where we need to go. And that's where most Bostons stop all this stuff. And parents, check your kids' room. We do not want any more Marcus Halls, Christian's cousins out there. Like, we're done with this. I am so tired. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. All this time I was talking, I was on mute. Ain't that stupid? On my phone, on Facebook. That's why I'm like. That's why that's why I'm gonna have to hire a technician, a real technician, not someone who just want to come in and play around for real. Because I am not. It seems like the older I get, the worse I get with social media, Facebook, all this stuff. It's frustrating.
I be winging it too. Okay, I'll give a shout out to Sheila. She be helping me out sometimes because I'm not as savvy as the young guys. They grew up with these things.
Facebook. I thought I was on Facebook, and someone texted me and said they wish that I could re-say what I said because I was on mute. I don't know. I figured out. I guess maybe I'll bring Jackson in here to help me.
I'm gonna tag you to my feed.
Okay.
Until I have everything.
Yeah. This social media. The more we get, the more it's like it just switches up sometimes so much. You know, like
it's a lot of information.
Too much. You know, it's a lot of information. Stuff come on. You know, and we're living in real time now. It ain't no more like delayed. It's like. This is it.
Instant.
This is you know, and that's why you see all these things like these reels. Sometimes you can really get caught up in them things, you know, because it's just like this stuff is just like happening. Like the world is going around and around, and it's.
But they're distractions. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're distractions. It's so, these little apps and all these things are ways to distract you from doing little things. Because I get caught. That's one reason I like writing my work on the wall. You know,
so you
right now, because for some reason when I go on my phone, I got something there. I end up on Facebook. I end up on Instagram, right? And then I gotta cut myself off and get back on track. But when I have it on the wall, guess what? There's no click to Facebook. There's no chime that comes on my phone up top of the screen. You know, it's just focused on that. And that's another thing. We have to take time out of social media, cut that off so we can actually focus on work.
That's right.
Focus is a big thing that I think a lot of us forgetting about. And we have so many distractions that we don't have focus anymore. Yeah. Right? And that's something I guess we're going to have to retrain our minds on. These apps and social media is great for some things, but they're not great for everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because it's nice to be able to sit in the room with a lot of people and just talk about things, you know, just create ideas and stuff and pull out that paper and write on the wall and stuff. It's just, you know, there's a lot we can do, but there's also a lot happening. A lot of people are being displaced and redlined, and it's a lot.
And I want to say, especially with social media, because you know a lot of people like texting, and this is something for like mental health. I was talking to a friend one time, and you ever talk to somebody and every time you talk to them, they leave you and you feel inspired. You're like, yeah, well, I love talking to them, right? I love talking to them. That energy they put on me, it was good. So one day, I was talking to this person. I don't really want to say her name, but shout out. And Lori, I'm going to throw it out there. And I was like, I ain't got that energy that I normally do when I got off the phone. So I called her back. I was like, hey, are you okay with everything? And she was like, thank you for calling back. But, and just, just had that release moment, right? But if I couldn't hear it, I would have never known that she needed like somebody to listen to for like even for 5 minutes, just to be like, oh, thank you for caring. Yeah. Right? So that's one thing I want to say about social media and texting. We got to call people because we can't hear people's mood and tones through text.
Yep, and not only that, sometimes things get out of hand. Like things get misinterpreted through text. And email. Sometimes you say one thing and it's looked at in a different way, and then it just keeps going, and then you never get back to it. You lose your friendship, or you just go your own way, and then that might have been a good relationship that could have manifested. But unfortunately, that's what we dealt with.
Well, that's like you said. Let's get us in the room. Let's start talking and figuring out. And I think that was a great idea what you talking about with the politicians, of us really getting in the room, everybody get on the same page, and fight for ourselves. Because if we, like you said, if we don't come together, and especially in this, there's not as much black people in Boston as you think.
I know, because a lot of them have actually left. So a lot went down south. A lot went to the South Shore, some went to the North Shore, and it's just because it's become increasingly expensive to live here, and then when you ride up and down these streets and you see all these people working, all this construction worker, you don't see a lot of people who look like us. No. You don't see a lot of females, and you don't see a lot of Boston residents. And the city ought to be ashamed of itself. They got all these folks, I don't know where they come from, but you wouldn't see a whole bunch of black people in Wellesley working, or Newton, or Brookline. And it's just like, it's a disgrace.
We've lost hiring local. Yeah. We lost that. We used to hire local. I remember when companies like Gillette, Dana-Farber actually used to intern high school kids from Boston. Yeah. What happened to that? You know what I mean? We used to have the first ups at all these jobs. I have a couple friends who actually are high in their careers at places in Boston because of these programs, right? And traveled around the world and stuff. And our kids are educated. Our kids actually want to make money. Our kids want to learn the real stuff, right? They don't want to learn to be a coffee shop maker, right? And the other thing is that we don't have enough access to the careers out there that the kids can do. Because this was something that was said to me I didn't know. There are jobs out there that are fun. You could get paid for, right? That you love to do. And that was like mind-blowing to me that somebody said that to me. Like, you could get paid for something you love to do. So think about something you love to do and look around and see if there's, a job out there for it.
That's right, because they say as long as you're doing what you love to do, you're not working. So... how much more time we have, Pastor?
6 minutes.
6 minutes, okay. We have 6 minutes left. All right, so let's not forget about Cleo's fundraiser, May 31st. Tell us where it's at.
Okay,
you can't tell how much your tickets are, but no. Tell us where it's at.
All right, it's going to be at the Bruce Bowling Building, 2300 Washington Street in Roxbury. It's going to be on the second floor, and it's going to be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to try to get an extra hour extended, and I feel that will happen. But it's going to be a great event, May 31st. And we're going to have a lot of honorees. And just to let you know, some of the people are going to be there. We're going to have State Rep Russell Holmes. We're going to have City Council at Large Julio Mejia. I just got a confirmation from Rootsy, the City Council President. We're also going to have Brian Worrell. And we're going to have Fatima, the President of the Greater Mattapan Association, will be attending as well. So we're going to have a lot of a political power inside there who are helping to support us getting this place revitalized for the community.
Yes. So I will be there. Because I like what you do, and I want to support you all. You all
Appreciate it.
support me. So yeah, it's just come on, people, wake up. It's 2025. We need to get with the program for real. We need to learn how to love our brothers, love one another, because that's what it's gonna take. You don't always have. Sometimes you don't get along with people, and you don't have to like everybody that you work with, because I've worked in many jobs and I wasn't crazy about them folks, but I wanted my paycheck, so I came to work and I did what I had to do. But there's so many things that we can do together as community, and we need to learn how to work together, figure it out, because time is running out. We don't, with everything that's going. I mean, we got a president that's going to another country, and they're offering him a $400 million plane. I mean, and he's just dogging like the plane that he got,
right.
oh, this ain't good enough.
Right.
I mean, really, that's why I don't watch TV no more, because, I mean, it's just like they treated him like a prince, and it's like, what he's doing to this country is just, I don't know. So obviously, there's some major shifts and there's some things going on there. We have to stick together. How do you think our families got here? My girl Harriet Tubman, she kept going back for her people and kept bringing them, kept going back. How many of us would go back? How many of us would go back? Not a lot.
Not a lot.
And so, I mean, it's time to wake up. And, I thank God for who he is in my life. I try to support my community. I love working with the youth. I work with Torchlight in the Nation of Islam. We're trying to do something. We really are. And if people would just stop, bad mouthing and just, I don't know.
Those are the couch people. Unfortunately, we got the people who like to complain and talk and do all the things to throw you off. But that's the couch people. Those are not the people who are coming into the rooms. I always hear people, oh, ain't nobody out there doing stuff. Like, you're not in the room, because I've seen a whole bunch of people out there doing stuff. Yeah. But you're saying that, get off the couch and do something. At the end of the day, it's up to all of us. You, the listener, also. It's up to you, because this is